Hello everyone, this is Mowog for the Cavern today. It's my treat to actually host a TCT talk, which I don't think I've done in the past. But we're looking forward to a good one tonight. We have some excellent stuff on our bullet list here. We have with us Alhon Tirathan.
Hello.
Also known as Eric. Patrick, known as Maurus.
Hi.
And Jnathus, known as something which I'm not going to repeat right now.
Hello.
Hi. Okay.
Your parents really should have named you something other than a word that needs to be censored. Seriously.
Well, they wanted him to be a good fighter, you see. Okay, first thing on the old bullet list on the wall tonight would be the new Cavern Today Forum. It's been completely redesigned. Yes, by one of our own, in fact. It was redone by Moose, also known as Blake.
Well, with a lot of contribution from yours truly, moi.
Maurus.
Did a lot of the recoloring, redesigned the buttons, added the little logo to the spherical, but it took a long time. It took me about 2 days to get all the things recolored. But no, I think
it does look nice.
You guys really did do a great job pulling this thing together, which was much needed.
But there was a very specific reason why we moved to this forum in the first place.
Laziness.
The reason we tried this was because I had contracted Moose as a fellow admin to be one of the people keeping watch on the spammers trying to register on the forums.
Right.
And I told him, what I really want is I want a forum where we can set a script that says that when you log in, when you create your registration, you have to answer a misrelated question to get past the registration.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. So these are things that you can't look up. And we went through a couple of revisions, things like adding quotes, the ending shall never be underscore. And I said, you can't do that because someone can put that text into a search filter and they'll get the rest of it.
Yeah.
So I don't want verbatim. I want to be something that actually has to be almost a 2+2 kind of conversion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So he came up with a good little PHP script that asks a bunch of different questions, and this is something that was supported on this forum. And we needed to update the old forum, but we weren't going to do it smoothly because it was a full point release further. As an example, we were on 2 point something, and they're up to 3.0.6 last I checked. That is a major difference in forum software, and there's probably been 20, 30 revisions in the middle there, which means that when we switched to the new one, a lot of stuff was going to get broken in the process. So since we were going to do that anyway,
yes,
we thought we'd go to the free PHP, I forget what the exact name is, but the free PHP forum.
Yeah, very good.
But that broke a few things too still. I'm not sure how we're going to fix it or when we're going to fix it, but at this point, the website for the podcast is at thecaverntoday.com. The forum is at the caverntoday.org/forum.
I saw that up there, yeah.
Yeah, if you bookmark thecaverntoday.com/forum and you log in, it'll redirect to .org. So you might as well just bookmark the .org until we fix it.
Okay.
And I know it's something which we should have fixed before we said, we're done, but, the dust settled when we realized that was there, and I'm like, it's working. Let's just leave it working.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, some of us tend to work on the premise of if it ain't broke, fix it till it is broke.
Yeah, that's one of the things we often run into in my tech support job. I'm like, you don't want to keep fixing till it's broke.
Yeah,
so
just leave it alone. Okay, so the new forum's well worth a look, and I recommend anybody out there who's interested in catching up on the latest TCT news, what there is of it, to take a look at our website, take a look at the forum, and download some of the.
And if anyone has any problems, I'm on the Mist Online Early Live forums as Jnathus as well, and I'm one of the admins. Moose is as well if he's on there. Mm-hmm. Or any TCT staffer you can get a hold of on there. Mowog is a moderator there. Mm-hmm. If you're having problems logging in, you need some help resolving it, contact any of us, and we'll get it fixed for you.
Yep, and we won't even laugh at you much.
Well, only a little bit.
We might for a couple hours, but
yeah. But we're easily amused.
We'll be laughing with you, not at you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's it. Okay. Next on the list, we've kind of exhausted that item there. Let's talk about OHBot, and that's OHBot, who is one of the newest denizens of the Cavern. And I'm going to toss this over to one of you guys who knows a little more about the details. I have yet to actually meet OHBot in Cavern, but I've read quite a bit about him in the forum. So who's the authority here?
I think Maurus knows more about it than Alhon, because he was using Alhon as an example.
Me. Okay. Well, see, even I don't know that much, but I have actually experienced this, and here's how it works. It's a bot, and he's capable of doing many different things as bot, who we call him he because it's OHB, which stands for orange-haired boy.
Yes.
So we call him he. And what happens is he's capable of many different features, all of which are listed on the website, which I think you can probably just Google, just look for OHBot, and I'm pretty sure you can find it there. But there's also a post about it on the forums. But I think the most significant feature of all the things OHB is capable of is a translate feature.
And this is actually quite cool.
It really is. Now, I know for certain, for instance, that we have, I think, a very strong German community.
Mm-hmm.
So that would serve as a good example. What'll happen is you can point as long as you've had it added to your friends list, you can PM OHB, this bot, and actually point them to a certain username and say something like translate N into English. It'll post back to you every line that user uses in the IM, but translate into English. It's a really cool feature. Really cool feature.
It really is, because with the Uru fan base being, basically global, it's a nice way to be able to talk to folks who, don't speak the Queen's English.
The website is orangehairedboy.net.
Yeah, there you go.
And some stats that we have on our forums, it went online February 23rd, 2010, has spoken to over 700 people, and on an average day, it has had about 700 interactions with 60 different people.
That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, and if nothing else, it tells you that there actually is some participation on Uru these days.
Mm-hmm. Yep. It's kind of, as you were mentioning the global community, and this is a bit of an aside, I've been reading the Ender's Game book series lately.
Oh, very good series.
Yeah, they keep talking about the use of the language Common, which is like a more rudimentary version of English, where they simplified certain things.
Uh-huh.
And that's like everyone has to learn Common. And I thought it's kind of interesting, as you said that, I don't know why that just suddenly jogged my memory about that.
Mm-hmm.
We were actually talking about mentioning books in the talk at one point. And at the time I wasn't reading anything, so I was like, that sounds like fun. Next.
It'd be kind of cool, because we could have, sound effects in the background, like a crackling fire, and, you're sitting in the corner there with a good book, and hello.
Well, actually, I've stopped books. I've started getting Kindle books on my iPhone.
Ah, there you go.
So, which we'll talk about that later. We'll talk about that later. But in any case,
go ahead.
Moving to the next bullet point, we have the SimiOTF, the Cyan phishing scam. And we know we're a little late on the pickup on this one, but back in March 23rd, Cyan mentioned that there is a few folks who have received email regarding employment that seems to be related to Cyan. It is not related to Cyan in any way. So if you happen to have gotten any of that, well, you're not going to be working at Cyan. Sorry.
No.
Oh, shucks.
Speaking about what Cyan's doing, Cyan has Magiquest Online now open. I don't know anybody in this group would know anything about Magiquest Online, so we'll just probably...
Hey, I beg to differ there. I guess I'll step back to the beginning a little bit for those who aren't familiar with the game. It's currently Cyan's breadwinner. It was set up as a partnership between Cyan and Creative Kingdoms. And Creative Kingdoms, as you may or may not know, are the folks behind the Magiquest live sites, which basically are kind of like live-action adventure games, essentially. They are based around a premise of magic, and you interact with these environments with a wand. It's an electronic wand that you purchase on site. It stores your information as you proceed through the games, and you interact with the game itself through video screens and things like that, just interactive exhibits and activities. They are basically quest-based, the live ones, as well as Magiquest Online, and that you have a particular task to achieve, and it's up to you to figure out the proper sequence of events and how to manipulate everything at your command to meet those goals. One of the cool things is that if I go to like the Magiquest site up in Minneapolis, for example, and I complete a quest there, all of my progress in the game and all the runes I've won, and all the titles, the experience points, all the gold I've gathered, and things like that. All those numbers are stored in a database at Magiquest Central. And if I go to any other Magiquest location in the U.S., I will start off with all my experience intact. And I only say this because the Magiquest Online game, which is intended as an extension of the live sites, stores your game progress into the same database. So that means if you complete the quest in the online version, it basically sets you up for like the Silver Dragon quest, which you can't play online. But if you go to one of the live sites, you can, because you've got the requisite experience points and things like that set up for you to take that new quest at the live sites. So Magiquest Online is an extension of the live sites, as mentioned. I'd highly recommend you look at their website. It's really pretty cool. I've played through the live version and really enjoyed it quite a bit. There's a lot of that old Cyan magic in there.
Wait a minute, you played through it lately, or?
Yes, It's live, and you can get to it. Simply go to MagiquestOnline.com, I think.
So just so I'm understanding this correctly, you might call this a online quest with magic, or a Magiquest Online, if you will.
That might just be one of the worst puns I've heard today, and when you hear about my day, that's saying something.
Yeah, and on the MagiQuest.com website, there is a button there for MQ Online, which, when clicked, takes you to the page for that. You can purchase Chapter 1 now, and I believe it's $9.95. Okay, it's $9.99, but that will let you play through the first chapter of Magiquest Online. When you get into Magiquest Online, you'll notice that it's quite similar to Mist Online, but you have a wand in kind of a holster deal on your belt, and with that wand you interact with everything in the game essentially. Whereas with Uru, you would use your hands, to click switches, to turn things, to push doors, etc. At the beginning here, it's kind of hard to get too lost because there are, as is the case with the brick and mortar Magiquest, you get a Book of Wisdom, so-called, which is available in your inventory at the bottom of the screen. And it will provide a transcription of all the monologues you hear from the live-action characters.
So is it kind of like the transcription journal from Myst 5 in that kind of aspect, where you go
quite similar, yes, because everything the non-player characters say shows up in the journal, but only after they actually speak the monologue to you.
Yeah.
So I've got to say the acting is actually pretty cool. It's, as far as gameplay goes, some parts of it are quite Myst-like. Others obviously are somewhat different and borrow from the Magiquest live sites. It's up to you, even though you get prompts through the Book of Wisdom and through the interface at the top of the screen, which is also something that you will not see in Myst, or Uro, I'm sorry. It's almost like a walkthrough in a way, but it should be remembered that this is actually kind of a family activity, as are the live sites, and that people of all ages will be playing this, from kids all the way up to their parents.
We hope.
Yes, exactly.
The trailer that came out that has all those features in there, has all that come to bear, or is that all still in the future?
It's all pretty much as you see in the trailer.
I mean, like, did you see the big rock guy?
Yes, yes. Yeah, that is the Golem. It really is very creative, and the realms themselves are quite well done, and I think very much up there with the best of the Uru ages, at least. It's a combination of Cyan's work with the virtual worlds, of the live acting that was all put together, I presume, by Creative Kingdoms, as well as some CGI stuff, like animated sequences where you're battling the Golem, for example.
Well, it'll be interesting to see what it looks like with, Cyan actually, instead of being the creative force behind it, just being the developer, answering the creative force's wish to see developed.
I think there's another parallel with Uru here, in that it's designed to be presented in a series of chapters that will continue to be delivered as time goes by, which, of course, was the idea with Uru. Chapter 1 is what's currently available now. There is a free trial that you can download and play, which I think shows you the initial realm or something like that. But at $9.99, it's not a huge expense. And
$9.99 per what?
Per chapter.
Per year? Oh, okay. So it's like episodic, sort of.
Exactly right. Yeah, it's episodic. Okay.
But here's hoping that this episodic layout is better than what Uru's ended up being.
Yeah, but episodic, and it seems to be treating it like DLC, in that, like, you pay for each DLC. Am I right in assuming that?
What's DLC? Sorry.
Download.
Yeah, Mowog isn't familiar.
like when you have an online game and you buy an expansion pack for it as they come out, downloadable.
Oh, that's basically it. Yeah.
Okay. So there's a base game, and then you keep buying. Okay.
Right.
And how much
chapter
base
download? Well, it's $9.99. Chapter 1 basically is a self-contained game. Mm-hmm. And to tell you the truth, I don't know if subsequent chapters will simply give you the data to play through the original engine. I presume they will. Anyway, so it's going to be a lot of fun. I hope they really get some involvement here, because Cyan really did some excellent work. The music's fun. I understand that Cyan's resident composer,
Tim Larkin.
Yes, Tim Larkin did indeed contribute music for this.
Well, he's mostly working freelance now, right?
I believe he is, yeah. He's put his stamp on a lot of different projects.
Well, moving forward here.
Righto.
My latest obsession in video gaming is the latestly released Splinter Cell Conviction game.
Mm-hmm. Is this
the only thing I want to?
Is this the one with the bunny rabbits and you? Oh,
no bunny rabbits.
I was thinking of something else, I guess.
Yeah, in Splinter Cell Conviction, it's the fifth Splinter Cell game. We like to pretend the fourth game doesn't exist. It's a different take on the stealth genre. It's definitely has the puzzle factor with it. The only downside I would say there is to it is that there's no option to stealth your way through a level and never bother anybody like the previous games had. Like you could literally, if you found a way, you could get through a level without anybody noticing you were there and just do what you need to do with your objectives. Take a picture of this, open some safe, whatever. This one, you are pretty much required to, bring the body count of living beings to 0. That's and I don't mind that so much because there's a lot of fun strategy things you can employ. But it's interesting. They have these levels called Denied Ops, and they have DLC for that as well. And what they are is essentially much more like what the original Splinter Cell is, whereas the game's story has like twists and turns and, oh, I successfully cleared this level. I did so good, and boom, the door busts open, and look, you've been discovered. It doesn't matter how stealthy you were. We found you.
You just thought you were finished.
Yeah. Yeah. So then the Denied Ops, you have, it's a very controlled environment, but there's lots of fun things like grabbing one of the characters and taking him through the lasers because he has some kind of a beacon in his suit that disables them, so it makes it easy to get through there. Or next time you can just forget about that and throw him over the ledge and then try to do the acrobatics to get to the lasers, so there's a lot of little different twists and turns, and my favorite one is actually getting to, on a leisurely pace, go through Third Echelon, which is a level in the game that I really enjoyed doing. It has a lot of it seems like it has a lot of influence from, say, the Bourne Identity movies, whereas they have this way of taking down up to 4 enemies really fast. You mark all 4, and as soon as you have them all within your sights, you trigger the QuickTime event, as it were, and he brings them all down. Bang, 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 done. But I've learned that you can do little tricks with that. Like, what if there's 5 guys? Well, what you do is you get near the one guy and you mark everybody else. You pop over, take him down, then trigger the QuickTime event. Hopefully everyone's still in range and they all drop. And so you kind of have this... if you've ever seen the Bourne Identity movies where there's that point after he just took down everyone around him, you're like, that's kind of what that scene is like in the game. So I'm really enjoying it. It's one of the many games I've been playing on my systems lately. I think our next point here is going to be for Maurus.
So with Steam on Mac now, Valve has been having these ridiculous sales on most of the items in the orange box. Everybody, of course, knows, for example, Portal, which was free for, I think, 2 weeks, was it? I think.
That's when I got it.
Yeah, exactly. But when that happened, everybody was talking about it. And, I kept hearing it get mentioned on the internet and by other people. And I'm looking at Google Trends right now, and I'm trying to see if there was a spike. And, yes, I'm looking at it now. There's the spike in October 2007, which is when it came out. And then there's this, and then there's it actually increases, but there's a noticeable spike when it became free this year. I think it was May 2010, right? Yeah, here it is. Yeah. So so you can look on Google Trends, see that for yourself. It's actually smaller than I thought it would be, but the point is it definitely got very popular, and they had their Portal sale free. That was really successful, obviously, and I'll talk about my experience with that later. They also did Half-Life 2, and they're working on Team Fortress 2, which I bet is probably going to go on sale Wednesday, but I'm crossing my fingers about that. I don't know, but I know they want to put that on Mac. So
Wednesday when?
Well, this week. I'm just saying that because the releases have generally been 2 weeks apart, so this is my estimate, but I don't...
This week, when the podcast is released on the 14th?
Ah.
I tried to drop a hint, and you didn't take it.
I don't know how to say it. Hopefully at the time of this recording is going to be released Wednesday? I don't know. That doesn't sound current. Okay, so just forget I talked about Team Fortress 2 then. But the point is, between you guys, I'm hoping it goes on sale, because
hopefully by the time this recording reaches our audience, it's been on sale or will be on sale soon.
Fine. And if it's not, then I'll be crying. Because
I have an audience? Cool.
See, I have the game ready. When they put the entire orange box on sale, I said, yeah, I should do that. Even though
I liked installing Steam and watching all my Mac versions of the games pop up of games I already owned.
Yeah. Even though I already had Portal, I felt like it was worth it because the orange box is on sale, and even if I took the price of the orange box sale, cut that in half, it would still be less than the value of those two games minus Portal. So it was like I was getting a deal on the two games. So I said, yeah, why not? So, but I'm waiting for my friend to grab it because I promised him we would start together. So,
so what do you think of the idea of Valve moving their stuff to the Mac? Do you think it's well timed? I mean, maybe too little, too late. Is this a good move? What are your thoughts?
See, I don't really care because I have the Windows partition on my computer for a reason, and it's been tested, and I've actually tested this myself too, and there is a pretty significant performance drop on the Mac versions. So, I'm just really taking advantage of the Mac releases for the sales, but the fact is, because of these Mac versions coming out, there's going to be a much greater audience for the games on Steam, and I'll be able to get it out to lots of other people. And really, Steam is a really wonderful example of online distribution done right. Because there's so many things done right in there. You have the way it keeps you informed of what your friends are doing. Which of course makes playing online with people way easier.
Yeah, it's very smooth.
Well, I mean, I'm a Steam evangelist. I mean, I will rebuy games on Steam just to have it in there, so I can, because that way all I have to do in order to back up and restore my games is just back up and restore my Steam folder, and they're all back. And they have a little backup thing that the thing runs in there, and it takes forever and a day, so it's almost pointless to even do it. Once I heard you could just back up the folder and put it back, I've done it a couple of times, and it's smooth sailing. It is absolutely no problem at all to do it that way.
I don't know if I should do that.
I don't know if that's the way that the Apple version of Steam works. I haven't actually dug into it to see if it's actually contained in there, the specific location where the application is at. I'll have to test that. But I wanted to talk about what you said before about the performance of the games being lower in Mac. But you're using a Mac, but you're using the Mac in Windows, and you're using the games on the Mac partition, so that you're trying it on the same exact hardware.
Exactly, the same hardware. And I mean, that's probably not so much an issue on.
Well, it's not so much a question. It's what I'm actually saying. I have a statement on that front, and this is an experience I have because I've actually been swimming in the Inside Mac Games forums for a very long time, and there's just this strange perception, and maybe there's this weird crossover because a large contingent in that forum are PS3 owners, and one of the things that I've always noticed about the console games, and this has a point, so let me go with this, is that they tend to not be V-synced. And what the Xbox 360 tends to do is it does a not a V-sync per se, but a frame sync, which will result in a lack of V-sync tearing, but it's less frequent, whereas it's absolutely reliable on the PlayStation 3 games that don't have V-sync forced. This is where I come to these people who play these Mac games, and as an example, they were playing BioShock, and I think at the time they were talking about it on a Windows partition, but the expectation of how it should look and how it should run seems so subpar to my opinion of how games should run on systems. Like they were saying, like 18 to 24 frames per second is perfectly playable so long as VSync is off. It's like, yes, but if you're anywhere where there's a flickering light, the VSync being off is terrible. It just shreds the screen with tearing. And it's those little things that to me, like I want my system to be set up such that I don't have to change that kind of setting. Like I set it once and then I don't have to worry about it, and everything else just is smooth playing. I can forget about all that and just immerse in the game. And that's one of the things I've noticed with the Mac community is that they have somewhat of a lower expectation, but then if you put that expectation, juxtapose it with what consoles tend to get, it actually kind of fits into the picture. So in my opinion, and this is of course just my opinion, we have games as they are on the Mac, which I would equate to being similar to the experience of consoles, but I would still put all of that below the experience of being on a PC. And that's my whole point with all that.
Okay.
So let's move on to the E3.
Yes.
E3.
Hey, checking out for E3.
By the point we get this podcast out, E3 will be underway, and so the answer to our questions will have already been
Aha! See? So don't yell at me when I do the little time paradox thing, okay?
Hey, I got the time paradox right because I know when it's coming. But anyway, I'll have this little piece of paper that, could be completely fabricated, but, gives me hope, and so I'm going to religiously believe that it's real. That somebody had an image on a website with things that were going to be announced at E3. And people are mentioning that the Portal 2 and Half-Life 2 Episode 3 are supposedly canceled, but the point is they were canceled, which means they were originally scheduled, which means the age of this paper still lends some credence to its being real. The important thing, among all other things, is that there's one game in that list, Beyond Good and Evil 2, that has been purported to be not in development, and it's in development, and Ansel is leaving Ubisoft. I know he's not leaving Ubisoft, and they put it to the back burner, and no, they're definitely still developing it. So the fact that that's on that list has me, fingers crossed, hoping that we're going to get some news at E3.
I'm really hoping we hear something, but maybe I've just grown cynical at this point. But I've been burned the last 3 straight E3s ever since that the trailer and the gameplay footage are only two proofs that this game actually exists came out.
Yeah. Well, after this E3, if there's no news, then I am throwing in the towel and on the hope on this. That's the end. We've been strung along even further with Uru though, with Mule. So
that's
true.
It's coming someday. and Ubisoft the company insists it's still under development, even after purported news is that it was on the back burner. It wasn't even in development yet.
I think it's just falling behind the stove.
Yeah. So, any other E3 hopes?
Well, speaking of games that are supposedly under development for inordinate lengths of time, I'm still hoping for either an announcement of Half-Life Episode 3 or a full Half-Life 3 sequel. And it's been 3 years since the ridiculous cut-off cliffhanger ending of Episode 2, which left everyone who wants to play it screaming at their computer screens. So I could really use some plot resolution. What do you think
will happen? Will it be a whole new engine? Will it be a slightly upgraded version of the source engine? I mean, what do you think would happen if they did do a full Half-Life 3?
If they do a full Half-Life 3, I think we should look at either a Source 0.5, like a major overhaul to Source, or it'll be a full engine, because Valve they really do like using the Half-Life franchise at their flagship, basically, to announce new engines. And as pretty as... I mean, Source is a great engine, and if you look at Left 4 Dead 2, the way they've been able to scale it up to modern systems is remarkable. So I'm really not expecting a full-blown, I guess I'd call it Source 3 engine, because technically Source is the second iteration. But
have you played the Half-Life 2 since the graphical upgrade?
I have not, in fact. I actually pulled out and did the first mission or so, but I didn't really notice anything, so I'm still...
Actually, I did. I noticed it quite a bit. The places where there's water are drastically upgraded.
Okay, I haven't gotten that far.
Certain things that were nowhere near reflective are now reflective now. And I know what was and was not. I played through the game several times with a card that could do it from day one.
I got to interject here, because I was thinking about this too, and I'm hoping that when they say that they're not going to announce Portal 2, not going to give more information, that they're lying, because I really would like to see more information about Portal 2.
You've got to remember the email that says that they canceled the Portal 2 launch event was more, you could tell was more or less written by GLaDOS, who, of course, is a habitual liar. So,
yes, that, and, I mean, even if it wasn't intended to be written by GLaDOS, it still seems like a joke. So, yeah.
Oh, it was a joke, that's for sure.
Yeah, exactly. So what I have to... Actually, that could be their way of saying there is going to be one, now that I think about it.
Well, Portal 2 has been confirmed, so you won't need to worry about that. It is coming out in fall.
An event, rather, because I'd really like to understand. But no, because I was thinking about the game, Portal 2, and I'm thinking they're not just going to use the Source engine again, are they? I mean, so what I'm kind of hoping is that for, I mean, Portal 2 and for Half-Life 3, which I hope is Half-Life 3, I guess, because I think that would be cool. The Source engine is really old now, and yeah, I mean you can keep updating it however much you like, but like, it's time for an upgrade. I think like it's really time they either did a substantial change to the Source engine or created a new version of the Source engine entirely, because it's old now. I mean, it's a great engine.
It really is. It's what, 6-7 years old now?
But it is 6 or 7 years old. So I mean.
Yeah.
You know.
I just remember that it had some very random performance spikes in the early versions when I had a GeForce 6 series. You know, the 6800 GT is what I had at the time. And I remember that was kind of frustrating because I think what really eliminated that issue was having the advent of like dual-core processors and also Windows Vista and Windows 7 that actually take advantage of those more accurately, because I think the problem was Steam. Steam was having some communication while the game is running, and that minor hiccup would cause problems with single-core processors. But I haven't noticed any kind of hiccup today. But I have to say, as I'm playing the game, you know, I'm used to games that have like, you know, worlds that I can roam from one end to the other without any kind of a load screen, and then, you know, I go through this area and then I hit a door and loading, loading. Okay, now you can get it. Like, what was that?
I like the way it handles it realistically, though. That was the first thing I noticed about, like, because I mean, in other games you go through a door and the screen blacks out and then you have a loading screen, but instead it just stops what you're doing, it says loading, and then resumes from where you were. It's much more realistic, and it also keeps your position from where you were relative to the new map, which I really like, because it looks like there was no change.
It's hard.
It looks like you just kept going.
It's trickier than it sounds to pull something like that off, but they do it.
Yeah,
they
exactly.
do it flawlessly too.
I mean, it literally will look like you didn't move. That's my favorite bit, because the image when you're done loading will be the same image that is on the screen when you started loading, and they just sort of mapped it perfectly. So,
a game I'm playing lately, I'll mention the name when we talk about what we're playing, but has load screens. It's also on the consoles as well as the PC, and it's obvious that the load screen is designed for the consoles to keep you entertained, because you're going to be watching the screen for a while. Whereas on the PC, like, the little circle zooms in, oh, it's done loading.
One last comment I have when it comes to Valve's presentations in their booth is that if the special surprise, whatever they're doing instead of Portal 2, which may in fact be a lie, but who knows, if it involves another Left 4 Dead, Left 4 Dead game, I think that they might have a riot on their hands, because people are still seething over Left 4 Dead 2, and even though it's a fun game, and I'll admit I drank the Kool-Aid and ended up buying it about 5 or 6 months after it came out, but yeah, people don't want another Left 4 Dead. We want Half-Life and we want Portal, and we want it now.
I just watched Zombieland. For some reason, I've been having some hunger for some Left 4 Dead. I don't know why.
Actually, me and my brother have decided that if they do an actual Left 4 Dead 3, they basically just need to take the entire plot of Zombieland, plug it in, let you play as those 4 characters, and it'd be an instant hit. Only if they let me have my Twinkies.
So before we, I think we're almost done with the E3, right?
Can I make one more comment about E3? Just tiny one, right? So E3. For years, like a couple years ago, E3 used to be so big, so exciting. And like I remember distinctly, for the last 2 years, E3 has been incredibly disappointing. For both because at the time I was mostly a Nintendo fanboy, which I'm not as much anymore because I'm just sorely disappointed in everything that they've done for the past 2 years. They just haven't made any progress at all, and I'm just so disappointed in them. So I'm hoping that this year at E3 there are some really big, because E3 used to be so exciting, and everybody would be like, "Dude, did you hear about E3? Oh my," and it stopped happening. Like,
partially cut back. Part of that is because of the cutback about, I think that's 4 years ago now, maybe. Where E3 was just so huge that nobody could control it anymore, so they limited it to just press. You had to get very special badges to get in. They cut back on the booth babes and all the kind of gaudy stuff that had been going on. And E3 is still kind of recovering from it. I thought it's actually been better the last year or two, and this year should be good. And speaking of Nintendo stuff, Nintendo has already confirmed that they will be talking about these new Zelda game.
Oh, thank God.
And the news, and they had confirmed earlier, although being as early, this was last year sometime when I heard this, so take it with about 30 mountains of salt. But they did say the next Zelda Wii game would be coming out by this Christmas.
Yeah, I heard about that.
We'll get some more information on this at E3, obviously by the time this episode goes to air, we'll probably know more about that. But also don't forget,
we have crossing my fingers about that
game. We also have the Metroid game coming out by the end of the summer from Team Ninja, who did Ninja Gaiden. So it's obvious that the major franchises for Nintendo, the big three franchises, are getting represented, and they are making progress on it. You got Mario Galaxy 2, Metroid Other M, and Zelda, whatever the new one's going to be called. So,
actually, I was gonna make a point about that because I really think, Mario Galaxy 2, has been very successful, but it didn't really have a point for existing because Mario Galaxy 1 was already really successful. So, but it was still a great game, which totally surprised me because I thought it'd be a load of crap between you and me. But I'm glad it wasn't. I'm glad it's doing well. But I feel like we've already seen this, so let's see what you can do to rejuvenize the other franchise, and that's why I'm really, really looking forward to this new Metroid game because there was Metroid Prime 3, but this is completely different. This is a completely new direction, and I'm really interested in seeing where they can go. So, I don't know if I'll buy it, but I'm definitely going to be following Other M very closely, because that seems cool. I thought that was cool when I first heard about it 2 years ago, was it?
Last year. It was last year's E3 when they had the surprise reveal trailer.
Anyway, so what are the chances that we're going to get information about Kingdom Hearts 3?
Slim to none. They're going to milk the spin-offs, and they're going to they're just basically going to milk the spin-offs for at least another year. And Kingdom Hearts 3 will mark the death of the franchise. It'll be a great game. Everyone will buy it, but it's going to kind of wrap up the story, and anything they release after will be met in comparison. Of course,
where else can they go? It's already been wrapped up for the most part.
It kind of has, and that's the problem. And obviously,
try not to be too spoily for people who haven't played it.
Yeah, I haven't actually played it.
I'm not. I haven't even played it. I'm just saying, as much as I know of it, is that it's more or less been wrapped up within the duology. Although, same could be said about Mist and Riven. And they kept making games.
Yeah.
I think Kingdom Hearts 3, if and when they actually release it, is going to mark kind of the end of the big Disney Square Enix partnership. And the other thing we're kind of missing in all of this is that Disney is making their own new franchise called Epic Mickey, which will be coming out on the Wii and looks downright amazing.
Really?
And it's really coming out. It really seems to have hints of being the anti-Kingdom Hearts. It's an action-based game starring a 30s-style Mickey versus all of the Disney characters from before Mickey got popular. Like the main boss of the game is Walt Disney's first character, who was actually a Jackrabbit character, very similar to Bugs Bunny. And he's the main villain. So it's really... I think it's actually kind of going... I think this game is going to mark the end of Kingdom Hearts simply because Disney's realized, okay, we have this Kingdom Hearts franchise. It's a successful formula. We can take that formula, put our own spin on it, and go with it. And who was it? Warren Spector is working on it, I think?
Yes, I see that right here. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, there is some muscle behind this, and it's been surprisingly, I guess, under the radar. I'm hoping we hear a little bit more about this at E3, but I think...
I would like to hear more about it, too. But,
Yeah, the visuals are very cool.
Yeah, if it's Wii only, I'll just have to look from a distance.
Oh, see, I still get offended by comments like that now. I really need to get over that. I'm trying to migrate to the Xbox. So.
But there's just, I don't care if people like the Wii. I just don't see. There's nothing on the Wii that draws me.
Actually, that was something one of my friends mentioned. I should bring this up. one of my friends, I agree with this, says that he's crossing his fingers that there's going to be an announcement of an HD version of the Wii. And I don't know if that's going to happen, but that would be cool.
I don't know if that's going to happen.
That would have to be a hardware rev.
Yeah. Nintendo's already going to have a big announcement with more details on the 3DS, the new 3D handheld.
Oh, that's going to be so stupid. Oh.
It's gonna,
I'm sorry. But...
Well, the 3D is optional, of course. That was announced earlier, so it's not going to be, every game has to be 3D, and it's also going to be glasses-less from what we've heard so far.
Yeah.
Right.
Really? Anyone else tired of 3D?
Yeah. But I think that's going to kind of wrap up Nintendo's major hardware announcements, because I don't see them pulling a Wii HD yet. I'm going to say wait till next year, and instead of doing a revision to the line, they're going to announce a full-blown sequel console by next year. That's just my prediction.
Oh, and in other words, for people who didn't know, the Black Wii is finally out. I was wondering when that would happen. Just so
it is out, and it looks pretty.
Really, that's the one that I wanted to get when it first came out, and then of course no, because they released colors in Japan, but we're not good enough. So.
The bundle, I was in Best Buy this past week, computer shopping actually, and the bundle that came out is actually very attractive rate. For the $200 base, you get a single Wii Remote, the Nunchuck, you get Wii Sports, just like the original package. You also get Wii Sports Resort and a Motion Plus connector. So they've kind of sweetened the pot a little bit with the new Wiis, with the colors and with the extra game and attachments. So
it really does look beautiful. Seeing the blue disc drive glow out blue amongst the sleek black, it's just so cool looking. Yeah. Not that I'll buy it, but it really is cool looking. They should have done that before.
Yeah, I told my sister she couldn't get a Wii until they went black. So
I mean, they also have the
back.
Yeah, it's just it just doesn't work right in most TVs, entertainment centers. It's all black or silver or something. It's like it doesn't make sense that it was white, in my opinion.
They do also have the new black Xbox. That was only a little while before they did the black. Anyway, I'm sorry, moving off topic. We should move.
Well, the Xbox was actually charcoal. It's actually not quite black, unfortunately, because I've seen them. But anyway, yes, we do need to move forward to the section of what are you playing?
I'm currently playing Portal. I was...
Wait.
What?
I want you to here and now admit that you finally tried Portal after years of our behest, and you have found it to be quite enjoyable, as we told you you would.
Well, yeah, okay, I'll back up a little bit. These guys spent a lot of time and effort kind of nudging at me to play Portal. Said, you'll love it. Try it. You'll like it. Old Alpha. And it wasn't actually until Steam offered it free just a couple of weeks ago or so that I finally said, oh, okay, I'll get these guys off my back. And I really do enjoy it a lot. It's a lot of fun. I enjoy games where I can play at my own pace and can concoct strategies and try to put them into motion. And it reminds me of one of the Lego games I played some time back, and I'm trying to remember what it was called now. But it was one where you had to manipulate various mechanical elements and set them up in such a way that you could cross barriers, could get to the other side of the chamber to open a door.
That was Lego Alpha Team, actually.
Yes, it was. Yes, I've got that one. And when I first started into Portal, that's one of the first things I thought of, because you are trying to open doors to move on to the next test chamber. And it's kind of up to you to figure out the correct strategies to do that. I was very impressed with how Portal is set up so that you get deeper into it progressively, and that the first few test chambers are rather simple. I've played as far as test chamber 15, and I'm really stymied there for the moment. And I'd probably have to solve if it wasn't for having to talk to you guys for podcasts and things like that. But I'm just really enjoying Portal a lot, and I'm looking forward to getting past this particular chamber so I can move on to the rest of it.
For those of you who are kind of more game design and kind of more programming oriented, the developer's commentary for Portal is really brilliant. They give you a lot of insights into why they did specific things, into things that weren't quite working, so they cut them, how they decided to kind of teach you through the different mechanics of the game. It is really, once you finish the game, Mowog, it's really worth playing again from the beginning and going to all the commentary notes and just seeing their thoughts on the story, the design, all of that.
And the voice of GLaDOS.
Yeah, well,
The
I mean,
voice.
that and the achievements. But yeah, well, actually, you can't get achievements while you're doing commentary mode, but that's irrelevant.
But-
and if you don't care about how they made the game, then it's at least amusing to hear the various levels of enthusiasm the employees
sure,
have.
Yeah.
You know, some are like, well, we did this game. And like, so, well, we did this. I thought that was amusing. That's just me.
Well, I enjoyed the learning process. Yeah, I enjoyed the learning process as I was getting into Portal for the first time, and I had a few of the proverbial aha moments or the laugh out loud moments when I try something and it worked, and very cool. I'm figuring this out. You know, the old dog is learning new tricks, and this is very, very cool.
Yeah.
So that's one of the reasons I'm anxious to get past this one particular chamber and get back into the into the unfamiliar stuff.
Yeah, I love the process that the voice of GLaDOS describes how they achieved the sound that she did, and you hear. I don't think it's being too spoilery to say that she is an opera singer, and you can hear it in her voice. She has a silvery voice.
Yes.
I thought that was an enjoyable portion. I was like, I wish there would be like a whole interview with this woman. I just want to listen to her talk.
You know, her voice reminds me of a little bit like Sherry. They talk the same way, I've noticed. Because in the commentary, you have her talk, and she sort of has the same sort of the sort of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So who's next, Maurus? What are you playing lately?
Yeah. Similar story, actually. I'd heard about the game, and I really wanted to play it for about 3 years, actually. When it first came out, 3 or 4 years, and it being
we don't
free,
want to jump right into these things. I mean,
it being free and downloadable, offered this really perfect opportunity for me to do so. So me and my friends, we all downloaded a copy of the game, and I was kind of amazed at how much I did like it. Actually, I was not expecting this to happen, but bizarrely enough, it really took me back to the original days of old Myst, like the Myst 1, back when I was like 9 or something. Not even Riven XL. No, I mean the original Myst. For some reason, it just captured that sort of, what am I doing? Oh, I'm doing this.
Yes.
Oh, I have to do this. For some reason, I don't know why. Maybe it's the isolation too. Maybe that has something to do with it. But it really it struck me. Like I felt pang.
What game are you talking about?
Portal.
Oh.
Yeah,
it was just like pangs of like emotion and memory back from when it was. I didn't expect that to happen at all, but I really, really, really loved the game, and it was actually a great time because I'm very much excited about Portal 2, which got announced at roughly the same time that the deal started happening. And I've seen some of the concept art. It looks really cool, and I'm really.
One of the things I've learned about these kind of situations is whenever you're dealing with games where you want a sequel. The best thing for you to do is to find something else to play, because that wait is too painful. You just might as well just change gears and find something else to play.
But to be frank, it seems like I fully expect the sequel to actually be really good, and I'll tell you why. Because we've seen something similar from experience. Take a look back. The original Myst, done by just two guys, Rand and Robin, and a couple of their friends, banding together and making this game. And it was really just sort of a test bed for them. They were just, a couple guys trying out this thing. And when that was hugely popular, then they said, oh, let's make a real game with like a real team of people. And then, Riven came out, and it's if everybody here hasn't gone back and replayed Riven recently, go do it, because it's amazing how well it holds up. It's
honestly, there's nothing quite like Riven. Yeah,
it really isn't. It's fantastic.
And now you can get it from Good Old Games.
Exactly.
You can run it even on Windows 7.
But it really, for something that is 10 plus years old, it really holds up well. It really does.
Yeah.
But that's what's happening with Portal 2. They only released Portal 1 because it was kind of like, this is sort of a test bed. And actually, the developers have gone on quote and have said Portal 1 was a test bed. Portal 2 is a game. Like, they're actually going to take the concept they did with Portal and put it into like a full-length, very large, large immersive game, and that's why I think it's going to be really good, because now they really.
Now I'm looking forward to it. Yeah.
Exactly.
I sense tears on the horizon.
Possibly. I'm just only because Myst and Riven works. It seems like Portal 2 would work.
I'm just thinking, because of one of the things they said during the development to be spoilery, but I'm not spoiling anything because you're not going to see this in the game, is that they had the environments were well rendered, high polygon, very complex scenery, whereas the game ultimately isn't like that for the most part. They said that they didn't do that because it was confusing players and they wanted to get to the point of the training center. I'm thinking, I bet you, when they finally bring all that to bear in the game, we're going to have problems like that where things are not going to be as obvious, and we're going to be running around going, "How the frickin' frack do you solve this?"
You know what? We've all played the Myst games though, so that's not going to be a problem for us. Shut up.
Okay, so is that all you're playing?
No, I'm going to make this really brief. I'm going to make this really brief. But I went through my closet recently, and I dug out a couple old games that I haven't played in a while, and I found Sims.
Buried under the skeletons.
Yeah, well, yeah. Yeah, and the dead bodies, but that's another story. I found SimCity 3000, which I grew up with, and I said, I'm going to give this another run. And then about 5 hours later, I realized I hadn't done anything. Talk about, speaking of games that are 10 plus years old that hold up well. So this game, I've heard that people that have played the most recent SimCity, SimCity 4, end up going back to SimCity 3000 because they like it better. That's what I've heard. But SimCity 3000 it is fantastic. It is addictive. I cannot stop. And just to say something about the composer, the music, especially for a game of its time, 10 years old, is absolutely brilliant. It's done by Jerry Martin. This was the first game he developed. He worked on with Maxis, and of course Maxis loved his music. So now Jerry Martin does every single game that Maxis does now. But to be quite honest with you, I really like the music that he did for this original game a lot better than any of his later stuff that has been in The Sims 2, SimCity 4. I really just like the soundtrack for SimCity 3000. It works even independently by itself. You can just listen to it. It's self-contained because there's a lot of recurring motifs that he uses throughout the game. But he combines electronic music and jazz, and it works really well.
Oh, very cool.
Now they offer the soundtrack for free online, so I recommend you guys check that out. Just look up SimCity 3000 soundtrack. You'll find it right on Maxis' website. But it's really good. Anyway, that's all I have to say.
All right,
I said this a few minutes ago, Maurus, when you were talking about Portal and its mistiness. That really kind of rang a bell with me because when you think back to Myst, at least in my case, as you played that game and its successors, it just does something to your head that no other game quite does. And you come to miss that kind of experience, and it was very cool to rediscover that feeling in Portal. This strange technology, and you've been dropped into this place, and it's up to you to figure out how to progress and things like that. So yeah, point taken. It really is a lot like Myst in that regard.
All right, Alhon, what are you playing lately?
Well, I've been playing basically 2 or 3 games exclusively lately. I've been actually starting up a kind of a internet video review show that's kind of been going around to focus on adventure games, and so I've kind of trudged my way through the travesty that is REM. That was more than a little painful, and once I get that episode
never played
out,
that.
Don't waste your time.
Okay.
It really is that bad, and it's basically the big thing that got me was it looks like Myst, especially in the quality of its renders, only with a lot less good design. So I was expecting, okay, this is an early Myst knockoff, an early Myst clone. Yeah, I can cut it a little bit of slack. Then I did the research and saw it came out in 2003, and any respect I had for it was gone. But other than that, I've actually been playing League of Legends lately. A bunch of my friends kind of wrote me into it, and it's based on the Defense of the Ancients mod for Warcraft 3: The Frozen Throne, and it's really a lot of fun. Kind of a multiplayer. It's got a lot of aspects of real-time strategy, a lot of just kind of general team strategy. I love team strategy games. And I'm having a blast with it. As you play, you level up. You're able to buy abilities to increase your character's powers, and you're able to buy new characters to play as. It does have a cash system. You can buy things with actual earned with actual cold hard cash, but everything is fully unlockable also through in-game cash, which you actually rack up pretty quickly. I've been having a blast with that. I think I've gotten up to level 7 in pretty much since I've been home, so in the 2.5-3 weeks since I've been home. And of course, I'm still playing TF2 way more than I really should be. Team Fortress, I've been addicted to that game for going on 3 years now, so I don't think that's going to stop anytime. So that's pretty much it. I'm playing more games than I probably should be doing.
I personally have a lot of plates spinning with my games. I've decided to do a couple replaythroughs of games. So the new Fear 3 coming out in October has kind of inspired me to play Fear 2 again. And I have this problem with a lot of games where, like, I play the sequel and I suddenly don't want to play the original game anymore, even if the original game in some ways is better. Like, I played BioShock 2. Mm-hmm. It runs smoother on my system than BioShock 1, and because of the gameplay aspect, even though the story isn't as good, I enjoy it more. Fear 2 is in some ways not as visceral as Fear 1, but I still enjoy it more. Mass Effect 2 is very different from the first one, and so after you play Mass Effect 2, you go back to Mass Effect 1, you're like, what is this? This is taking too much time. I gotta go all the way over there? Are you kidding me? And so those are the three that I really have going, and also started playing Batman Arkham Asylum. But my focus of all of these ones is Mass Effect 2. I just love living in this futuristic environment, and that's what the game feels like. It feels like you're living there. Mm-hmm. And I think that's what a lot of what we look for in games. We look for immersive, enjoyable environments and engaging stories and believable characters. And Mass Effect, I mean, in the second game, when you're stepping out on this one area where you can see up through the hole in the ship, it's the planet that you're somewhat in orbit of, you just kind of take a second and go, this is actually really, really well done. This is, if you can imagine a really big action movie or a big action sci-fi movie, and this is like living that as a game. Yeah. And that's what I really enjoy about it.
Yeah, very cool.
I mean, I think that when we talk about, like, they say adventure games, there was that story about, who killed adventure games or what killed adventure games, and the thing goes on this long explanation. We've talked about this before, about how this character has to, like, get a fake mustache to pretend he's a certain character who doesn't have a mustache. They say, I submit for your evidence that, adventure games committed suicide. I would submit a counter argument that instead of committing suicide or dying, they kind of merge with other genres, and that's why a lot of games like Mass Effect are less of an RPG and more of a role-playing adventure.
Sure.
Fear 2 is a shooter, but it is also an adventure storyline. Beyond Good and Evil is a third-person melee combat game with stealth elements, but it is an adventure.
BioShock,
most of the games
right?
that
it's all about
BioShock. In all these cases, it's an adventure game. It's a story. It's an environment, and something you can immerse yourself in. And that's what I enjoy about it.
Yeah.
And I think the games that don't offer that kind of stuff, things like Serious Sam or whatever, that's the ones that after I play for a while, I'm like, what is the point? Where is the point? The environment, the visuals are beautiful, and some of the snarky comments are kind of funny. But I just, after a while, I was like, I don't feel like there's a point. It's just like playing Whack-A-Mole.
A lot of folks quit Myst for the same reason,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know a lot of developers use the term action adventure now.
Yeah,
kind of a fusion.
Can I make one quick point? I just realized I forgot something. Very quick.
So,
well, first off, I mean, playing Portal had also led me to just download the whole orange box. Definitely worth it. Half-Life 2 is great. I'm in the middle of playing it. Besides that, one very brief thing. I also picked up recently a game called Metal Gear Solid 2. And before, say what you want about the Metal Gear series, at first it seems like a silly kind of action-y stealth game, but especially towards the end, the story ends up getting really twisted, really good, and the philosophical nature of it will strike you and sort of leave you kind of stunned for a while, because it absolutely it punched me in the gut, because I was not expecting an action stealth game to mess with my mind as much as that did. That was wonderful. So if anybody hasn't played that game, please go play it. You're gonna love it. Just trust me. Anyway, I'm done.
Cool.
Okay. So let's move on to the final point here. Today being, when we record the podcast, not when it's released, WWDC happened today, and the new iPhone was announced, which, that's partly important, but I think more important is the iOS 4, which is the iPhone OS replacement that will be powering the iPad and the iPhone and the new iPhone. I have a few thoughts on the iPhone. Mine are different. Because of what I'm saving up for my computer upgrade, the new iPhone is going to be a little further out than my 2-year contract ending.
Mm-hmm.
So, I just have to say I'm happy with my iPhone. I don't need a new one. Life is great. I have the new Kindle app, and I don't think I need anything more, and I'm happy. And you will not convince me I'm not happy until I have money to be unhappy and have to buy stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So
it was an
any other
interesting
thoughts
presentation, that's for sure.
Oh, you watched it?
I watched the Twit commentary that ran along with it.
Twit is This Week in Tech.
Right,
Twit.tv.
Yeah. It really was very interesting. There are a lot of new features in iOS 4, as well as in the iPhone 4. And one of the... I guess I'll begin with the ending. The one more thing item was the video chat feature that is now built in to the iPhone 4. Mm. It's got camera lenses on the front and on the back. And the lens on the back that you would usually use, just as a camera, is capable, I think as before, of still captures as well as video. It will do, let's see if I can remember this right, 720p high def, and it's also got a built-in flash and a floodlight for when you're doing video in darker environments, which is very cool. But there is also a camera lens on the front, which enables you basically to have a video chat tool right there on the palm of your hand. The current plans are that it will only function with other iPhone 4s, but as the numbers grow, perhaps that'll actually be useful. Speaking of the video capabilities, they are also bundling an iPhone version of iMovie. And so you'll actually be able to record video and to edit and send all in the one unit, which I thought was very cool. You can, as you would with iMovie on the Mac, can combine any number of clips together, add transitions, add text, titles, what have you, music, and can then send that out to friends. But it can all be done on the iPhone 4, which is kind of a cool capability.
It's I gotta say, I understand completely how this, well, not completely, but for the most part how this technology works, and it makes sense. We've had cameras built into the things for a while, and we've had 3G, mm-hmm. and so I understand, but it's still just the idea that people can have video chats from their telephone now.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Strikes me as being horrifying. Even though I completely
mm-hmm.
understand how it works, I still cannot get over that. I feel like we're in Star Trek now. This is, you know what I'm saying?
There's a lot of concern, I think was kind of hinted at through the presentation, that there's a bit of angst on the part of AT&T because this is going to clobber them as far as a demand for bandwidth as people start, sending and receiving video streams over their network. And
it might be like Skype where, initially they only allow that over Wi-Fi.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I wonder how that's going to work. Yeah, so we'll see. Very cool capability. I'm trying to remember what else. There are 7 different sensors built into this thing, including a gyroscope, so that's... I don't know how that compares with the accelerometers in the previous versions, but
the accelerometers are only one plane of detection.
Okay, yeah. So, I guess the gyros can sense.
Yeah, because if you put the iPhone flat on a table, and you move it 90 degrees, it won't change because it's not vertical.
Right.
So if you hold it vertical,
yeah.
So it's only one plane of detection. So that's where the gyroscope will allow you to make changes, and I don't know. I didn't see the presentation, so I don't know how useful that is or is not going to be. I intentionally didn't watch the presentation because I'm perfectly happy with my iPhone.
Mm-hmm. And you didn't want to see anything better. Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah. I was kind of jotting down the things as they talked about, but I left my notes at work. So.
Well, one of the big things that they mentioned, and if they are able to carry this over to the iPad too, it'll, I think, completely change things, because this was one of the biggest criticisms of the iPad, is that what is it? ISO4, was it?
iOS
4, right. I'm sorry. That's dumb of me. iOS 4 is going to contain the ability to multitask, finally.
Yes. I think that's one of the big items, and of course I forgot about it. But yes,
it's huge because that was everybody was criticizing the iPad for being able to do all this stuff, but not being able to do all this stuff at the same time, like a computer can.
Kind of fed a one-track mind. Yeah.
Well, I think the reason that the determining factor on that particular front is because of battery life. They wanted this device to run constantly, be able to do everything you want for several hours on end. I mean, Apple's making big strides with their computers where they last for hours and hours and hours with those internalized batteries, and that has to do with how they've economized their operating system. And I think this is the same thing that they're trying with the iPad. But then on the flip side, I think on some level, certain levels multitasking should be available. So that's my opinion anyway. But I haven't actually played with the iPad. I've only seen it. So.
Nor have I, and I'd love to go to the Apple Store and play with one. But I know better than to do that.
I gotta say, as much as I hate the iPad, you guys know how much I was, spitting acid when the iPad first came out because there were so many things wrong with it, and I still think there's so many things wrong with it because it's come so close to being perfect, but it just misses the boat on so many levels. But you walk in the store and you see the iPad and you go, oh my god, I love this.
Yeah.
Because it's so adorable. It is the perfect size. It is just so cute.
It's so shiny.
It's completely portable, so lightweight, and does so much stuff. So, I have a soft spot in my heart for things like that.
There's no way I can justify owning one, but boy, it would sure be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I figure that if I do really want one, I'll wait until the second generation when the prices start coming down.
Yeah.
So
because then they'll probably fix all the problems that the first one had.
Incidentally,
one of my biggest problems with the iPad itself is, I have a bunch of hardware problems. One being the fact that it doesn't have a built-in camera. That's the iPhone has that, so there's no reason the iPad shouldn't have that. It's that the port is right on the bottom. So when you plug it into the the big dock that they've made, you have to have it sitting upright like that, and it would look so much cooler to have it sit in the dock and more or less mimic the aspect ratio of an actual monitor,
landscape format, basically
rather than vertical. So that's just a minor thing, but and there have been other companies that have come up with alternatives to that. Griffin is one.
I think that they're pitching it more as a ebook reader become computer, and therefore maintaining that particular aspect is why they're doing it. That's my guess anyway.
Yeah, but let's say you have the ability, if you had the ability to put it landscape, hook it up to a keyboard, and maybe even plug in like a Bluetooth mouse, have it work on a Bluetooth mouse. People who have jailbroken the iPad have managed to get it to read a mouse, so it's capable of reading technology. You just need more software for it. But if they were able to put a mouse, you would basically have what is the equivalent of a netbook, which is really what it's supposed to replace. And as a netbook, it works well because it has word processing, it has a PowerPoint equivalent, it has all that, and it does internet, which is really all you need for a netbook. So. Plus, you also have the music and video.
See, I'm kind of on the convert side where I like the idea of the landscape view on the iPhone, which especially when I'm doing text messages, like I'll fumble with the vertical one for a few letters. I'm like, okay, screw this, and flip it on the side, get the bigger letters,
the big
backspace, backspace, and actually type out the stuff properly. I was like, why don't we just get the phone to default to that? And I thought, well, then again, the phone is designed vertically to actually be held to your ear and used as a phone. So then I see the problem, So I don't know where the balance can be struck, and I guess they just had to draw a line somewhere, and that's how that happened.
Yeah. The whole thing
most
is
of us who wear bifocals appreciate large keyboards. Well, yeah.
Ooh, there's a train near somebody's house.
Yeah, me.
I heard that train a-coming. Well,
the Great Central Railroad.
Oh, yeah, damn it, I was going to make that joke.
Yeah. Well, have we exhausted everything we know about the new iPhone?
I think so.
For the most part.
It didn't take long, did it?
No, it didn't.
No. Well, is there anything else you want to chat about?
Nope, we're all set.
I'm good here.
It's about that weather.
Yeah. Well,
it's been warm here. It's been in the 80s. That's not common.
So spread through about 3 or 4 different time zones here talking about the weather. That makes sense. Well, so is that about it for this one?
That should be all.
Sounds
Very good. So long to everybody. Thank you so much for listening to The Cavern today. It's been a treat to have you. Thank you for being fans. Thank you for listening. Thank you for the downloads. And until next time, this is Mowog for The Cavern Today, signing off.
Have you ever gone to the store and like seen something that you already have, and for some reason you have this strange compulsion to buy another one?
Yes.
Sort of like, hey guys, did you hear about this? Yeah, it's old, so we're gonna move on. I'd love to, but I'd be embarrassed because I'm at home. So.
Hold on, just one second. I'm going to have to do something to quiet those in the other room. Hold on.
Sure. You heard 2 gunshots. They won't be making any noise. That's your cue, dudes.
Alphabetical, Alhon.
Wait, okay, just saying my name or what's going on? I'm sorry.
Your name.
Okay, it's been a while. Fail. I'm sorry.
No problem.
Elevator music.
Meanwhile, while Jnathus is reading, who contributed this anyway?
I'm going to have to find out and give them a thorough tongue lashing.
Banhammer!
I've got a shotgun if you want one.
What am I saying? Are we doing that or doing iPhone?
I think iPhone is last.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. And we lost all of it.
Yay, we win. Wait.